Hi, everyone. Welcome to the next Neville Goddard class. And today we're continuing with Your Faith is Your Fortune. We are on the topic of, it's the chapter, Who Am I? And in my book, I'm on the second page. The I Am. So I'm going to read. And then if you've got any questions about the whole point of doing these classes, is for you to apply what we're talking about to what you've got going on. So feel free to stop me at any point. The I am, your consciousness, is the only door through which anything can pass into your world. Stop looking for signs. Signs follow, they do not proceed. Begin to reverse the statement, seeing is believing, to believing is seeing. Now, that I know we discussed this at the end of the last session, but I'm going to go over it again because it's very easy to not understand it and for it to be confusing when Neville says signs follow, they don't proceed, because we think we ask for a sign, we get the sign, and then we know something's coming. But it's not that. The signs follow, as in they follow your change of consciousness. So if you feel poor, you got to change into relaxed, freedom, and wealth feeling. And if you feel unloved, you've got to change into I am loved in your consciousness, in your state of being, and then you see a sign. Okay? So the sign is the secondary thing, not the first thing. And seeing is believing, which is a statement that we have heard for years, where really it's believing is seeing. So you must change the thought, you must change the belief about money, about health, about work, about love, about your body, whatever it is, you must change it internally first. And then you see a knock-on effect. Start now to believe, not with the wavering confidence based on deceptive external evidence, but with an undaunted confidence based on the immutable law that you can be that which you desire to be. You will find that you are not a victim of fate, but a victim of faith. I love that. I'm going to say that again. You will find you're not a victim of fate, you're a victim of faith, which is having faith or the lack of it. Only through one door can that which you seek pass into the world of manifestation. I am the door. Your consciousness is the door, so you must become conscious of being and having that which you desire to be and to have. Any attempt to realize your desires in ways other than through the door of consciousness makes you a thief and a robber unto yourself. Any expression that is not felt is unnatural. Before anything appears, God, I am, feels itself to be the thing desired, and then the thing felt appears. It is resurrected, lifted out of nothingness. Now, Kathleen, going back to what you shared before I started the recording about finding money, let me ask you this. In regards to what Neville's talking about, where he says, I am feels itself to be the thing desired, and then the thing felt appears. What are your thoughts now about finding money? Because you find money on a regular basis, whether it's notes or coins. Can you just share a little bit about your thought process on that and how money comes to you and you find money on a regular basis? What's going on in your head about that?
I actually know that I find money.
Yeah.
So when I think about and do meditations or affirmations, I love finding money. I say that. I love finding money. And I do find money. I actually wrote out a big money thing that I'd put on my blog years ago about that I find money. Everything, like I said, from dollar bills to coins, and it adds up. And that's one of the ways that I feel like the universe can give you money without
Yeah.
doing any real work, you might say, because like I say, in the past, I had this worry that manifesting money comes with a lot of work or
Yeah.
a negative thing, like somebody dies or a catastrophe or something, and you get a big chunk of money. But that is one of the ways that I feel like money can come to you. And like I said, I even found an envelope with several thousand. If no one had claimed it, it would have been mine, and I don't want to take something that's someone else's because the universe can bring me mine, but I feel like I could find that on the street
Yeah.
and keep it,
Yeah.
you know? So,
Tell the people here about your lovely little jar, because
oh yeah.
that's so beautiful and so simple. Can you share that?
I started my jar when I first found 500 and I think it was 34 pennies one day while running. And I actually wrote a blog post on that called Pennies from Heaven. And so I started keeping the money that I found. And when I moved to my new house, I always start a new jar. I've never counted the other jars, but I found 2 quarters yesterday. So I was going to put them in my jar of money, and it was too full. So I decided I would empty it out into a bag, and I didn't have another jar. So I thought I'll empty it out into a bag and start the jar over with the 2 quarters, like a pair, they can multiply. And so I thought, well, I'll just count this money. And I had $65.26 in this jar that I found, just money I found on the street and picked up, people walk over it or whatever. And
Mm.
so it was, I started giving thanks, thank you for
Yeah.
the, I always see a penny, pick it up all day long. You'll have good luck. I always give thanks when I find it. I think, oh, I found some more money. Thank you,
Yes.
universe.
Yeah.
So
It's
last night I got,
Kathleen, it's what that book Happy Money is about. The association with finding the money is such a little game and such a thrill. It's definitely happy money, and it is a magnet to attract more, because your jar fills up eventually, which is so
right. And
exciting.
I don't have any resistance
Yeah.
to that. And so it's a good vibration of, oh, I find money. And I do. My dad always found money. He would, I would walk around and he would say, look at what you just walked over. And he could spot it anywhere. And occasionally I will leave some on the, like in a store or something, like if you're at the checkout or whatever, and somebody's dropped a penny or two, sometimes I'll pick that up and give it to them and say, give this to somebody or whatever, because I
Yeah.
know I'm going to find more money.
Yeah.
And so that's what I say. It's an easy vibration about money
Mm.
to keep going.
Yeah. What was
So
that? What was the statement you made? I always find money.
yeah, I always find
I
money, and
I always find
I always
money.
find more money. I mean,
Yeah.
everywhere you go around here, people just toss. A lot of people don't. I've seen people literally. I saw a girl one day open up her car door and pour all of her pennies out on the street. And when she pulled off, I just walked up and picked them all up, and I was like, "Oh, this is like 40 some cents." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Woo!" Who
Yeah.
threw
Yeah.
away good money?
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
She just threw it out the car
Yeah,
door.
didn't
Wow.
want any pennies. And
Wow.
so I was just like she would her, cigarette butts or something.
Yeah.
Because I had done this course back in 2013 when I first got into law of attraction with this girl called Manifest 10,000. And it was about manifesting $10,000 in 90 days, an extra 10,000, not your regular or anything. It was an extra 10,000. And one of the
Yeah.
first exercises on, like, you had an exercise each day you had to do it. About the third or fourth day, you were to take out a penny, I think it was, and appreciate it. And
Mm.
that was around, and I was, and it was like, look at the penny, and then get $100 bill if you could, and see what your feelings were about the $100 bill as opposed to the penny.
Yeah.
And the $100 bill was just so many of those pennies.
Yes.
So that was the way, I started really appreciating. If I find a penny, it's like, wow, I found a penny. And obviously they add up. I've got $65.26 in a jar that I found, and there's a lot of pennies in there, but there were 130 quarters. So that ended up
Wow.
like $30 and something just in quarters.
Yeah. You know what I love? It's like you're playing a game like a child, and the joy
Yeah.
and the fun of it is
Uh-huh.
brilliant. I'm glad
Yeah,
you
and
shared it.
then I started adding up. If I just put this in a high interest savings account, it'll bring me an extra $2 and something a year
Yeah.
just on money I found.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I started thinking. Yeah.
That's so great. I love it. I love it. And I hope it inspires other people too. I find money too. And I remember for years saying to someone, years ago, like, well before I started doing this work, I never find money. And I thought, well, you never find money I never found anything for like 20 years, never found one penny, nothing. And when I finally realized, once I'd learned that my thoughts are attracting or repelling, I started saying, I find money all the time. I find money all the time. And I
Right.
remember I was on the phone laughing my head off at something that the person was telling me, walking down the street. It was summer, and I looked down, and there were two 20-pound notes, which is probably about 60,
Right.
60,
Right.
70 US dollars.
Mhm.
And I remember thinking, oh my God, that's so easy. That was so fun. And I told the person on the phone, I just found money in the street, and it was just this fabulous moment of excitement because,
Right.
yeah, I mean, until it happens to you, you don't realize the joy in something that simple. It's so simple, and it's a silly little game that is not silly because it's reflecting back to you where you're at around the topic of money.
Right. And
Yeah.
there's a little meditation that I've done frequently. I haven't done it much lately, but it's only like 5 minutes. And if you look up 5 minute money meditation, it's by a girl with a YouTube site. I think it's called Unlimited You. But
Yeah.
in the meditation, you're out in a, in a on the green grass and the sun's shining on you and there's tree around you. Well, suddenly the tree's leaves all turn to money, $5 bills, $10, and you can put it in whatever, £5
Yeah.
notes, and then all of that, the wind blows and all that money's falling around you, right? And so I love that meditation because I can imagine picking up all this money. You know? And so it just
That's
makes me feel good.
lovely.
I can tie it into finding money. And like I said, the most I've found that I kept was $252. But I've found like $53 once on laying on the street. I found 220s
Yeah.
myself in the post office, laying out in the foyer. I'd been stepped on. It was all muddy and things like that. So I just, like, oh wow, here's some money.
Yeah.
So thank you,
Kat
universe.
Kathleen, you'll be able to leave your job soon.
Yeah, well,
That's so great. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. It's so
You're
beautiful.
welcome.
Akbar, hello, darling. What's going on?
Hello, hello, and yes, hello everyone. I've just got. I wanted to ask you this question yesterday, but obviously it was there was a lot going on. Um,
Yeah.
Pre-paving. Can you
Yes.
pre-pave two things that kind of related, but they're on the opposite extreme? What I mean by that is like if you were working and you didn't enjoy the work, but you wanted to have pre-pave to find relief in your working day each day, and then
Yes.
you're pre-paving something you felt made you feel free and fulfilled. You weren't too sure what that could be, but you're kind of pre-paving that emotional response to yourself.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I don't know if I've explained it properly. So
Yeah, yeah.
have I explained it? Okay. Yeah.
I think you've explained it right. Yes, I think you can, even though you're living certain circumstances around work, you can pre-pave, as in you are activating within you the feeling you would want if you were getting up that day to go to the job you really wanted. Because it's so easy to get up and go, oh, I've got to go and do that again. I can't stand it. When am I going to be out of here? And you feel this real drain. But if you got up and went, okay, I know where I'm going, but let me pretend I'm going to somewhere that I absolutely feel like jumping out of bed for. And you play really a pretend game with yourself. Yeah, absolutely, you can do that. What do you mean about the second topic, though? That bit I wasn't clear on.
Okay, not the second job. So I was talking about career. So I could be visiting somebody that I could be going to work at a job that I don't particularly
Yeah.
have any kind of thing, but I'm doing it because I'm paying my bills and
Yes. Yeah.
but the other pre-paving would be to do with finding having freedom, having like for example how would I say it? So having the thing that I want, but not necessarily knowing what I want, but I want that thing.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to know. You don't have to know the details of what job you're going to be in, what the location is, but it's you're guiding, in a way, you're guiding the future manifestation.
that's right.
It's like you're guiding the ball into the goal by activating the emotion, even though you don't know what industry or what place or any, you don't know those details, but you know how you want to feel. So if you activate the feeling, then as manifestation works, as Neville talks about living in the end, changing states. And as he said here, you might not have heard it, it's like you become a victim of your own faith or your own fate. So to become a victim of your own faith in a positive way, you induce the feeling of faith in this amazing job by having the feeling of it now, and then that draws it to you. Then, you know, the timing, we don't know, but it draws it to you. It speeds up the thing getting to you because you're
Right.
now in the right groove.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, nice. I'm glad you've worked out the mechanics of that, because that's exactly right. I was working in my last job. Although I liked it, it was killing me physically because I was up and down ladders doing displays for big, massive Westfield homeware stores. So although I loved the job, it paid me well, my health couldn't take it. My physical body couldn't take it as I got older. So I had to imagine, I remember thinking, all I want to do is sit down at my job. All I want to do is sit down at my job. All I want to do is sit down at my job. I just want to sit down. I was driven by physically being tired and wanting to sit. So that's what I do now. So it's almost like the one thing I wanted, yes, I needed to earn money to pay my bills like you, but I was so physically shattered, I just wanted to sit down. And that was just such a simple thing for me.
Wow.
And I want to wake up without an alarm clock. Those two, physically moving all day and being shattered physically at the end of the day, and waking up with that sound in the morning when I'm a night owl, I hated that. I hated it.
Yeah.
Made me angry. It made me angry in the end. It got, the anger accumulated more over time. So it's like you got to try and go, okay, I know that's what's going on right now. Can you just for 5 minutes focus on the relief of this being behind you and being in bed at 9 o'clock, 9:30 in the morning, having a cup of tea, reading a book, and not starting till 10. Wouldn't that be great? Oh, that would be so good. And I just kind of talk to myself like that.
Did you pick your the days you wanted to work? Like certain days you said, you know what, I don't feel like working today. Did you have that kind of
Yeah, I did. Because I really didn't want to work at that point. I was working a lot of weekends. I didn't want to work weekends then, you know, and I remember thinking, I want to work 4 days and I want to be off for 3. That was my goal at that time. So, you know, that was my goal. I mean, in the beginning of doing YouTube and doing this, I had to accelerate because I shut the door on my last job and I didn't know where the money was coming from. So I had to accelerate a bit. But after that, I took my foot off the accelerator. I worked more on, I'm relaxed, money comes to me easily and effortlessly and all of that. And then I kind of integrated taking my I work for someone, the employee hat off, and putting the business owner hat on. So, but that took a little while. But it's all those little bits, like Elaine's written in the chat, a drop in the bucket fills the bucket. It just eventually it gets full. Like Kathleen talking about her jar and putting a penny in at a time, or 25 a quarter, 25 cents. You eventually see the small little incremental movements eventually get you to where you want to go. Her with a full jar, you with a job that you love, me leaving a job I didn't like, all those things. It's like you move up as you make those little efforts. They really pay off. They do. So, you know, don't give up. 5 minutes here. You know what I used to do, Akbar? I used to walk past, I would, because when I knew I had to walk into work, the level of suffocation I would feel was excruciating.
I've gone the same way.
It's just you're forcing yourself, and your inner child's going, don't make me go there. And you're like having to drag this kid into this job. But what I thought I'd do, I'd say to myself, okay, what's my best moment in the day? When I left work, I locked the door and I walked to my car, and I would go, oh, I'm done for today. I'm free until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. So as I left work, I kept saying, oh, I am free till tomorrow morning. I won't. And then I just started saying goodbye to that little cafe. I won't be able to get my coffee there anymore. And oh, I won't be seeing that man's rose garden anymore, because I used to park my car, 15 minutes away from work, and I used to walk. Oh, I won't be seeing his rose gardens anymore. And, oh, I really love that little park where I have my lunch right near my job. And oh, I won't be in that. So it's almost like I started saying goodbye to it while I was still there.
Wow.
That really helped, because that was the only moment of the day where I felt free, was as I click, oh, thank God I'm getting out of here. That was instant freedom, that moment.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah. So practice those little things just to move the needle a little bit.
Right. Okay. I'll do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
No problem. No problem. Now, before anything appears, God, I am, feels itself to be the thing desired. And then the thing felt appears. It is resurrected, lifted out of nothingness. I am wealthy. I am poor. I am healthy. I am sick. I am free. Or I am confined were first all expressions or conditions felt before they became visible expressions. Your world is your consciousness objectified. Waste no time trying to change the outside. Change the within or the impression, and the without or expression will take care of itself. So yeah, it's just the outside's just mirroring where you're at. So, when I'm suffocated, I can't stand this, I feel trapped, I feel trapped, I feel trapped. It kept me stuck there for probably longer than I needed to, but it's so hard to let go of those emotions. So it's just do a little bit, do it at the best time of the day, do a little bit more, do it at that time of the day. And eventually I focused my way out. And then one day I did walk down the street for the last time and said, I won't see that rose garden. I won't be having my lunch in the park anymore. And I will not be able to get my coffee there anymore. And it was true. So yeah, it's a nice, that last day, wow, the achievement you feel, the freedom you feel, the joy you feel is an amazing moment. Now, when the truth of this statement dawns upon you, you will know that you have found the lost word or the key to every door. I am, your consciousness, is the magical lost word, which was made flesh in the likeness of that which you are conscious of being. I am he. Right now, I am overshadowing you, the reader, my living temple, with my presence, urging upon you a new expression. Your desires are my spoken words. My words are spirit, and they are true, and they shall not return unto me void, but shall accomplish whereunto they are sent. So I'm going to read that again. Your desires are my spoken words. My words are spirit, and they are true, and they shall not return unto me void, but shall accomplish whereunto they are sent. So shall my word be that go forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. They are not something to be worked out. They are garments that I, your faceless, formless self, wear. Behold, I, clothed in your desire, stand at the door, your consciousness, and knock. If you hear my voice, open unto me, recognize me as your Savior. I will come in unto you and sup with you, and you with me. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him, and he will sup with him, and he with me. Revelation 3:20. Just how many words just how my words, your desires will be fulfilled is not your concern. My words have a way ye know not of. Their ways are past finding out. All that is required of you is to believe. Believe your desires to be garments your Savior wears. Your belief that you are now that which you desire to be is proof of your acceptance of life's gifts. You have opened the door for your Lord, clothed in your desire, to enter the moment you establish this belief. I find it interesting that he says clothed in your desire. So it's like it's being explained that God delivers your desires. He's talking about it like clothing, but it's basically he's delivering to you your money, your job, your relationship, your love, your healthy body, your freedom, whatever it is that you desire. And so, yeah, it's interesting how he talks about it like it's clothing, clothed in your desire. So the Lord is delivering what you want, but you must have the change in consciousness and you must establish that belief within yourself first. When ye pray, believe ye have received, and it shall be so. All things are possible to him who believes. Make the impossible possible through your belief, and the impossible to others will embody itself in your world. So yeah, I mean, it's so easy to say believe, isn't it? Believing takes practice. Faith takes practice. It's so easy to be fearful. It's so easy to be anxious. It's so easy to be preoccupied. It's so easy to feel inadequate. It's so easy to feel insecure. Those are easy because if you've been that, you know how that feels and you know how to get there. So the belief has to change through, like what Kathleen said, I always find money. Whereas when I described my story years ago, I had the belief I never find money anywhere. So I was getting the external evidence of my belief, and Kathleen is getting her belief reflected back to her. So you can see in both instances, her and I were both getting exactly what we believed, what faith or lack of we had. Now, what was interesting about Kathleen sharing her story, she said her father always said he found money. And he, in a way, trained you, Kathleen, to have the eyes to see, but not just the physical eyes. He trained you in the mindset of being able to see and believe. And that's what's so fascinating. I didn't get to that place until probably 10, 12 years ago. But your father planted fantastic seeds about finding money. And I think that is something that we can take from your father, all of us in this group, and we can take from you, that this is a game. This is the game of life, as Florence says. We can play this. You can play the game with pennies and quarters and dimes and nickels. You can. And if you practice with that, then it can become 20, 50, 100,000, $100,000. It can shift from a lower amount to a medium amount to a bigger amount. It's just stretching your believability. I think that was such a great example. And, you know, this book is called Your Faith is Your Fortune. So your fortune will come, whether it's on money topic or not, your fortune will come through your faith and your believability. So make the impossible possible through your belief, and the impossible to others will embody itself in your world. All men have had proof of the power of faith. That faith that moves mountains is faith in yourself. No man has faith in God who lacks confidence in himself. Your faith in God is measured by your confidence in yourself. I and my Father are one. Man and his God are one. Consciousness and manifestation are one. And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. In the midst of all the doubts and changing opinions of others, let there be a conviction. So it's like, you know, it's like when he talked about at your command, you make the command. infinite spirit or God open the way for, bang, whatever it is. You stand in the conviction, you stand in the confidence, and if you don't feel confident, use your words, use your mind to find those words to help light the match that will ignite the belief and the faith. Okay? Now, in the midst of all the doubts and changing opinions of others, let there be a conviction, a firmness of belief, and you shall see the dry land, your belief will appear. The reward is to him that endureth until the end. A conviction is not a conviction if it can be shaken. So your conviction has to be watertight. Your desire will be as clouds without rain unless you believe. Your unconditioned awareness, or I am, is the Virgin Mary, who knew not a man, and yet, unaided by man, conceived and bore a son. Mary, the unconditioned consciousness, desired and then became conscious of being the conditioned state, which she desired to express in a way unknown to others, became it. Go and do likewise. Assume the consciousness of that which you desire to be, and you too will give birth to your Savior, whether that's getting out of debt, money, from being really overweight to losing a lot of weight, having a quite serious health condition to being healthy, whatever it is, it all starts with your conviction and your ability to change what you're conscious of. Go and do likewise. Assume the consciousness of that which you desire to be, and you too will give birth to your Savior. When the annunciation is made, when the urge or desire is upon you, believe it to be God's spoken word, seeking embodiment through you. So whenever you have a desire, then you know, according to this, that it is God's spoken word. Your desires are implanted by God, and it is seeking its fulfillment through the vessel of you. Okay? Go tell no man of this holy thing that you have conceived. Lock your secret within you and magnify the Lord. Magnify or believe your desires to be your Savior coming to be with you. So keep what you want close to your chest and don't speak of it. You can speak of it after, once it's hatched. I think it's good to, I would say if you've got a law of attraction friend or someone in your family that loves all the work that you're doing, then share it with them because they won't poo-poo it. No problem. But be very mindful other than that to keep things private. When this belief is so firmly established that you feel confident of results, your desire will embody itself. How it will be done, no man knows. I, your desire, have ways ye not know of. My ways are past finding out. Your desire can be likened to a seed, and seeds contain within themselves both the power and the plan of self-expression. Your consciousness is the soil. These seeds are successfully planted only if, after you have claimed yourself to be and to have that which you desire, you confidently await results without an anxious thought. If I be lifted up in consciousness to the naturalness of my desire, I shall automatically draw the manifestation unto me. Consciousness is the door through which life reveals itself. Consciousness is always objectifying itself. To be conscious of being or possessing anything is to be or have that which you are conscious of being or possessing. Therefore, lift yourself to the consciousness of your desire and you will see it automatically outpicture itself. To do this, you must deny your present identity. Let him deny himself. You deny a thing by taking your attention away from it. To drop a thing, problem, or ego from consciousness, you dwell upon God, God being I am. So you can practice just the I am, or you can practice the I am and then fill in the blank, wealthy, healthy, loved, whatever it is that you are looking to draw to you. Be still and know that I am God. Believe, feel that I am. Know that this knowing, one within you, your awareness of being, is God. Close your eyes and feel yourself to be faceless, formless, and without figure. Approach this stillness as though it were the easiest thing in the world to accomplish. This attitude will assure your success. When all thought of problem or self is dropped from consciousness, because you are now absorbed or lost in the feeling of just being I am. And I remember in the Law and the Promise, he called it self-abandonment. You abandon yourself to fusing with that which you want. And then it's almost like, oh, I'm here. Oh, that's right. You were so in the believing of you having what you want because you were living in the imagining scene, the living in the end of it, that you forget where you are. And then it's like a bit of a shock when you come back. It's like when you have moments where you're putting the kettle on and then you just stare out the window and then all of a sudden the kettle boils and it's like, oh, and you've gone somewhere. It's like that. So approach this stillness as though it were the easiest thing in the world to accomplish. This attitude will assure you success. Because we approach it like it's hard, or can I do this, or I've got doubt that I'm doing this right. Just approach the stillness as though it was the easiest thing in the world to accomplish. Just approach it with a gentleness and an ease. This attitude will assure your success. When all thought of problem or self is dropped from consciousness because you are now absorbed or lost in the feeling of just being I am, then begin in this formless state to feel yourself to be that which you desire to be. I am that I am. The moment you reach a certain degree of intensity so that you actually feel yourself to be a new conception, this new feeling or consciousness is established and in due time will personify itself in the world of form. So it'll take shape and you'll see your desire in front of you. This new perception will express itself as naturally as you now express your present identity. To express the qualities of a consciousness naturally, you must dwell or live within that consciousness. Appropriate it by becoming one with it, to feel a thing intensely and then rest confidently that it is, makes the thing felt appear within your world. I'm going to read that again because this is highlighted and it's quite profound. This new perception will express itself as naturally as you now express your present identity, which is with the lack of what you want. To express the qualities of a consciousness naturally, you must dwell or live within the consciousness. Like we dwell within, I am poor, I'm unhealthy, I'm unloved, I'm too fat, whatever it is, we dwell in the consciousness of that. So you got to stop watering that plant and pull your mental focus completely away from those thoughts. Okay, and you must dwell or live within that consciousness, as in the new consciousness, appropriate it by becoming one with it. To feel the thing intensely, like me talking about waking up in the morning with the alarm clock and going, oh, I can't do this again, feeling angry, I had to appropriate, I am free, and I'm going to be leaving this job soon and I'm not going to be doing this anymore. So let me get excited because it's nearly over and try and get a stepping stone or a foothold onto that. And that's what I did. It took a while, but it did get there. Appropriate it by becoming one with it, to feel a thing intensely and then rest confidently that it is, makes the thing felt appear within your world. So the confidence and the conviction and the at your command part of it, open the, infinite spirit, open the way for my, whatever it is, fill in the blank. I shall stand up upon my watch and see the salvation of the Lord. I shall stand firmly upon my feeling, convicted that it is so, and see my desire appear. A man can receive nothing except it be given him from heaven. Remember, heaven is your consciousness. The kingdom of heaven is within you. It's not up there in the clouds, further out in the atmosphere. This is why you are warned against calling any man father. Your consciousness is the father of all that you are. Again, you're told, salute no man on the highway. So see no man as an authority. Why should you ask man for permission to express when you realize that your world in its every detail originated within you and is sustained by you as the only conceptual center? Your whole world may be likened to solidified space, mirroring the benefits and acceptances as projected by a formless, faceless presence, namely, I am. Reduce the whole to its primordial substance, and nothing would remain but you, a dimensionless presence, the conceiver. The conceiver is a law apart. Conceptions under a law are not to be measured by past accomplishments or modified by present capacities for. Without taking thought, the conception, in a way unknown to man, expresses itself. Okay. So you have to start with a thought, and a thought that then starts to generate an emotion, and then the emotion then becomes the thing that turns just this random thought into a belief, and then the believability goes up. So it starts with a thought. Everything starts with a thought. And so you just put your thought on that thought that you really like. Oh, it'd be so great to have my own fully paid house. Oh, it would be so wonderful to be free to work when I want. Oh, I love thinking of having $1 million in the bank. Elevate your thought to something that is exciting to think about. Now, go within secretly and appropriate the new consciousness. Feel yourself to be it, and the former limitations shall pass away as completely and as easily as snow on a hot summer's day. You will not even remember the former limitations. They were never a part of this new consciousness. This rebirth Jesus referred to when he said to Nicodemus, "You must be born again," was nothing more than moving from one state of consciousness to another. Whatsoever ye shall ask in my name, that I will do. This certainly does not mean to ask in words, pronounce with the lips the sounds. God or Christ Jesus for millions have asked in this manner without results. To feel yourself to be a thing is to have asked for that thing in his name. And really, without words. I am is the nameless presence. To feel yourself to be rich is to ask for wealth in his name. I love that. It's so simple and so beautifully said. To feel yourself to be rich is to ask for wealth in his name. You know, I've got a friend whom I met through YouTube. I'm going to tell you this little story that relates to this that we've just read. Now, we have become friends over the years, and she is someone who has been a lawyer for many, many years, has had a job, really wanted to leave, finally stepped away. And I asked her when we went out recently, and what we do is we always go to some place that's quite abundant, as in expensive, luxurious, and we might just have a cup of tea. It just depends. But it's being in that environment. And I said to her one day, I said, and this was recent, I said, so how are you going, you know, not working for a company and just floating on your own? I said, how are you doing any marketing? Have you got a website? What are you doing? She said, this is my work. And I said, what are you referring to? She said, doing this with you. She said, I am in a state of being in the environment and in the feeling place. This is my prayer. This is my greatest prayer, is being here and experiencing this. And she said, whenever I do that, and she does it on her own sometimes, she said she always ends up with, oh, can you help, you know, my friend, they need a lawyer for this, or can you help? And she has started to really see the work isn't getting on there and doing a mail out and doing the marketing. The work is sitting in an abundant place and saying, wow, this was created by God. And I need to absorb being in a state of wealth and being in this environment and staying here long enough that I fuse with it, and then I go home. That's my work for my business. So it's a wonderful thing because her and I do that together about once a month. And then, you know, I do it on my own and she does it on her own. But it is such a, when you come from a poor background, it feels weird because you think that's those people, them, not the kind like me. And you've got to let go of that. So it's a wonderful practice to get into wealth and feeling rich. It is the prayer to God. It is the beautiful prayer to God to sit and be surrounded by beautiful environments. So, continuing on, I'm going to read that last bit again because I love it. To feel yourself to be rich is to ask for wealth in his name. So you just put yourself in, how would I feel if I felt rich and I could go on this amazing holiday for a month and I knew I could completely wipe out all my debt and I could help my sister with that and I could fly over to this country and see that relative I haven't seen in years and I could go and have a massage and spend a whole day at the spa where they massage me, they scrub me, they wax me, whatever they do. I can get all that done and I can spend the whole day there. I don't have to go and just get a little bit done each time. I can afford to spend the whole day there. And I can go and eat in a restaurant that's expensive and not look at the prices. So you induce the state, okay? To feel yourself to be rich is to ask for wealth in his name. So your job is just to feel it. That's it. I am is unconditioned. It is neither rich nor poor, strong nor weak. In other words, in him there is neither Greek nor Jew, bond nor free, male nor female. These are all conceptions or limitations of the limitless and therefore names of the nameless. To feel yourself to be anything is to ask the nameless I am to express that name or nature. Ask whatsoever ye will in my name by appropriating the nature of the thing desired, and I will give it unto you. So that finishes the chapter on who am I? So I hope that inspires you to play around with this because this is a powerful and yet very simple in theory. It just takes the desire and the practice. You just have to practice. That's all. And, you know, we get lots of opportunity to do so. So does anyone want to ask anything? We've got about 9 minutes left. If there are questions, I'll take them now. Otherwise, I will continue and we'll start the next chapter. Okay, well, we will keep going. I am he. So this is the chapter on that. I am he. Akbar, go ahead.
Do you have any tips on how to feel? Well, because you talked about the infusion of wealth and abundance and everything. When you first practiced this method for yourself in your life, was there anything you had to do to change your state, your feelings of wealth and abundance? Because we normally think of wealth as in it's outside of yourself rather than something that's within. Do you have any suggestions on how someone can think that way rather than looking for it outside?
Yeah,
externally?
Good question. I think I really struggled with I am rich and I am wealthy because they were just words. I'd never experienced what that felt like. So that didn't mean anything to me. And I'm abundant and I'm prosperous didn't mean anything to me either. But I am free, I understood. because I knew what it was like to be free on a weekend or free during the week when I had my days off. So I thought, well, hang on. If you're wealthy, you can do what you want whenever you want. So that's freedom. So I can't really get the feeling of I'm rich and I'm wealthy, because that doesn't compute to my poor brain that grew up with not very much. I don't understand that. So, but I remember thinking, well, hang on. It took me a couple of years to work this out, that I am free. See, if I go for a walk in nature for an hour, I can feel I am free. I really can. So that's got nothing to do with money, but I can get into the state of feeling free, which is how rich people feel if they're not, got so many irons in the fire that they're working lots of hours, but they've got a lot of money. The idea that rich people were free is how I did it and how it improved my situation, Akbar. So anything that makes you feel, if you're doing the money topic and you're looking to bring money in, if you do anything that makes you feel free. I know there's a guy in another class, he's in Kuwait, and he goes out on boats and he goes fishing, sometimes with a group of people, sometimes on his own. But you can see, because sometimes he'll send me a video and the boat's going, he's got the wind in his hair, you can see the sun and the beautiful blue sky, and I can see on his face he feels free. So for him, it's that. For me, it was walking by the ocean or walking in nature. And I would practice that sentence, I am free, as I was doing the walk in nature or the walk on the beach. And I think that is the one affirmation that helped me more than any money affirmation ever. So
Right.
that might
So
be
with
easy.
the walking in the beach,
Yeah.
was it something that was kind of something you sorry, what I was going to say is, when you were in Sydney, did you think about that aspect easier than you would if you're living in the UK?
No, because in the UK, like when I'm in London, there's no beach, so you can't
No.
see the horizon, but you can go to an amazing, I mean, I'm, next to a massive park, and you can get right away from the cars. Right now the trees are all bare because it's winter, but if I walk right down in there, I feel I can't hear cars, I can't hear ambulances, I can't hear anything except for birds and nature. And I can just breathe in and breathe out and go, oh, I am free. I am free. So I still do it and I still enjoy it. It's just not the beach, but it still gets me to the same feeling place.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. You got a park near you?
Yeah, but it's a small one. But there's a park. The parks here are a bit dodgy, I'll be honest, as well. You know, with kids and people trying to be tough and talk
Yeah.
a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of stuff, but there's a lot of people bring their dogs for walk and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's picking your moment if you can, like I know I avoid as much as I can weekends because, everybody's there with their kids and then it's not peaceful. And then I just think, well, I'm trying to practice my affirmation. And then, you got to wear headphones and listen to music to block that out. So I try and pick moments where I know the kids are at school and the parks are much quieter. And, just having that moment where you're not looking after anyone, you're not helping anyone, your whole aim is to go out on that walk and practice. It's like you get this rush in your stomach. It's like a rush when you keep doing it. It's like your stomach flips. It's a weird thing. Now I know when I do I am free, I am free. And I breathe in and I breathe out and I get oxygen right down into my diaphragm. That's when I can start feeling that. So it's almost like I've got to jump start it a little bit if I've been inside and not feeling particular, not saying I felt trapped because I work for myself, but I haven't felt that rush of freedom because I haven't been outside. I don't think I really feel that I am free. I am free. Let's say in confined spaces. I love being at home. I love my home. I enjoy my environment, but it's not the same feeling. It's contentment. It's not freedom. So
Right.
you got to try and light the match on what like the guy goes fishing. I had another client, she used to roller skate like on these walkways, and she said that made her feel free. So you got to ask yourself, what can I do?
That's in London as well, roller skating. The
Ah,
Serpentine do it on a Friday evening and a Sunday.
okay.
And normally roller skate. But I used to roller skate, but I'm kind of a bit scared now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because of like scared to hurt yourself?
Yeah, I think, and also
Yeah.
people, some people want to like push and stuff like that. So it's not.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's not it now. Maybe that was a good one then, and just go, okay, what can I do that's I feel safe and I can fully focus on I am free. Yeah, I do it sometimes if I'm in the ocean, I'll float on my back and say I'm free. Like if I had a bathtub, I would do it in there. I don't have a bathtub in this apartment, but having a bath, laying in there, relaxing, having a candle on or something, maybe a little bit of music.
I did that before I came here. Yeah.
Okay, well that would be a good time to do it, Akbar. Do it in the bath.
Right.
Yeah. See how you go with it.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot.
My pleasure. That was a good question. Well, everybody, we're going to start the I Am He next time. See you next week if you are here. And I will upload this session in the next day or so if you want to go back over anything that we discussed. Lots of love. And I hope that you can practice, after hearing Kathleen's story and a few other stories, increasing your money, your love, your health, your dream job, whatever it is, you practice your I am free so that you can break free of whatever you feel confined by. So feel free to unmute yourselves if you want to say bye.
Bye, Agnes. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Have a great week.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Bye.
Bye-bye.